I'm Deborah Owens, America's Wealth Coach, and it's time to get wealthy. You're going to learn exactly what you need to do to achieve the level of financial success you desire and you deserve. For over 60% of Black Americans, their first introduction to the stock market is through their retirement plan at work. And in the past decade, the number of 401k millionaires has doubled. But because only 55% of Black households even own stock, many are being left behind. And what that means is that the wealth gap continues to widen. And so today, we're going to talk with someone who implemented a goal-focused action plan to accelerate her financial growth. And so here are the 3 things they don't want you to know. Number 1, low risk means low returns. And you cannot save your way to wealth. And finally, you need to know how to assess the recommendations that you get from your financial advisor. And I'm so excited because our conversation today is with someone who checked all the boxes. She got that college degree, she earned her way up to a 6-figure income, and she invested in her 401k. And yet, she knew she should be further ahead. And you're going to learn exactly what she did to accelerate her financial growth and get on the right track. Belinda, welcome to Get Wealthy. I'm so excited that you're here. So tell our viewers just a little bit about yourself.
So thank you very much for the opportunity, Deborah. Good morning. I am a person who loved computers and everything that I could learn. And so I chased my dreams to be in IT, and I've been blessed to work in this industry for over 30 years. What I didn't learn was finance. And so with your help, I've been able to improve my returns on investment and able to share your knowledge and expertise with others.
So let's talk about the fact is that you did so many things right. You really did know how to save, but you never learned how to invest. And so I want you to share with the viewers just a little bit about what were the kind of beliefs that you had around investing in the stock market.
So honestly, I didn't have a true belief. I knew it was necessary. I just didn't know the techniques or steps required in order to have gains in the stock market. So my belief primarily was that a savings account was really good, that if I were to invest in the stock market, it should be in the most conservative fund because that was the most safe fund.
So you were more concerned about not losing than gaining. And so the other question I have for you, you took this conservative approach in terms of you knew how to save, you didn't want to lose your money. However, just in terms of your mindset, what caused you to know that you should know more and that you had to change your mindset around taking risk?
So quite frankly, my mindset was changed because I knew as I aged, I knew I needed more. I did use some of the techniques that was on the platform that my employer had, and I saw that I wasn't really prepared. And so thanks to our meeting in church, your ministry, your purse ministry allowed me to see the relationship that I had with money, the fact that I am an emotional spender, and that I needed to do better. So that change in mindset allowed me to, again, through the use of your purse ministry, your purse of your own, and what is your purse story, I was able to understand some of the triggers that I had when it related to money, and that how I could work on those triggers, as well as to understand the techniques, some of the techniques to research stocks and also to research mutual funds.
Well, I'm really glad that you brought up the concept of the money story and the purse story. And so just to give our audience a little background, in my book, A Purse of Your Own, I start out with my own purse story. And that was of seeing my mother's standard of living be, reduced from middle class to, barely making ends meet because my parents separated after 30 years of marriage. And that was my purse story and put me on this path. And so when you wrote your purse story, what did you learned about your emotional spending? Share with us anything else, particularly around mindset, when you did that purse story that came to light for you?
Really, the emotions. When I'm sad, when I'm upset, retail therapy was my friend. I also I also knew that I didn't want to live to just pay my credit card bills. At one point, I've shared with you that I was working for Visa and MasterCard, not really for myself. Over time, I wanted to do more for myself as far as to help my parents if they needed, to also to buy a new home. And so having those goals, long-term goals, I had to change my mindset to know that savings really wasn't enough, that I needed to take a chance in the stock market. And more importantly, I needed to work with someone like yourself who could help me understand what I didn't already know, and that it was okay to take a risk because, as you said, there's no reward without taking some risk.
Oh, I love it. When we come back, Belinda, thank you so much for sharing that, because I'm sure that many people can relate to how, spending emotions really play into whether or not you're able to achieve your financial goals. So when we come back, I want to delve a little bit more into the second part of the mindset strategy and execution framework that you use to accelerate your financial growth. And when we come back, we'll get into strategy.
Let's be honest, as successful women, we're crushing it. Maxed out 401k and Roth IRA? Check. Aggressive savings and investments? Check. Yet, the freedom our success was supposed to buy can leave us stuck on the six-figure hamster wheel, watching retirement slip further down the road. There's another way. Get coaching courses and community at wealthyu.com.
Hi, I'm Dr. Jackie Hood Martin, and I have a question for you. Ever feel as if your life is teetering and the weight and pressure of the world is consistently on your shoulders? Well, let me tell you, living a balanced life isn't easy. Join me each Tuesday on Black Star Network for A Balanced Life with Dr. Jackie. We'll laugh together, cry together, pull ourselves together, and cheer each other on. So join me for new shows each Tuesday on Black Star Network, A Balanced Life with Dr. Jackie.
So welcome back, everyone. I've been having a wonderful conversation with Belinda Edwards just about her path to accelerate her financial growth. And one of the things that I shared with Belinda is that she is now in the top 10% of African American wealth. And with that, it really had meant that she had to not only change her mindset, but implement a strategy. So, Belinda, let's talk a little bit about strategy. You were a saver, you had to shift in investing. Let's share with the viewers a little bit about the kinds of strategies that you implemented to really accelerate your financial growth. So talk to us a little bit about what did you, once you changed your mindset, got underneath, your spending, the things that the goals that you had, a new home, and that you wanted to make sure you were prepared for retirement, what then did you have to change?
So I had to change the lack of not having a budget. So now I have an annual budget. I also do an assessment of my spending on a quarterly basis, regularly. And then I also have checks and balances with friends and accountability partners, quite frankly, in order to make sure that I stay on track. What I also did was take advantage of my employer's relationship with an investment company. And I meet with them on a monthly basis to, again, do a check-in on my investments. Also to run what I've now learned is a Monte Carlo assessment to see how long my money will last in the future during retirement. And then also I took advantage of my company's long-term care plan, which also helps in my strategy for retirement.
Oh, I love that you said, I feel like so many people are sort of like 10 feet away from gold, and they're really not leveraging all of their investment opportunity levers. And so to that end, one of the things that I remember talking with you about is that you actually had a financial advisor, and yet you weren't really sure about, whether or not your investments were in your best interest. So what would you tell our viewers about what strategy you had to take in order to review what you already owned?
So you are correct, Deborah. I did not feel that my previous financial advisor was working in my best interest. So quite frankly, my strategy was to take advantage of the opportunity to meet with you. By meeting with you and doing my homework, I was able to then learn through analyzing the mutual funds that I was placed in, to also analyze some of the other products that I was that were proposed to me. I was able to determine that they were not in my best interest by either there wasn't a significant return, or more importantly, it was increased fees that again were not to my advantage. So those are part of the strategies that I was able to employ with this process. And in turn, I have shifted my investments to a different platform that is more advantageous to myself. But I also, again, I do my analysis of my investments on a monthly basis to see how they are performing. I also do an analysis of year-to-date performance to see if I should shift either where I invest my additional funds or the existing funds, should they be changed as well.
Well, it's interesting, Belinda. I know that people watching are probably thinking, well, man, she shifted from saving and using credit cards for retail therapy. And now she's able to analyze her investments and assess her financial advisor. And so what the next thing I want to really talk about, it's one thing to learn how to analyze. And yeah, you learned how to analyze and research mutual funds and stocks, and you really became a great student. And yet, a lot of people do exactly what you did. They learn how to review their investments. They learn how to, analyze what they have, but they never execute in order to accelerate their growth. And so when we come back, I want to have a conversation with you about how you were able to really begin to take what you learned, apply it, and use it to accelerate your financial growth. So next, I want to talk to you about exactly how you execute it in order to begin to achieve the kind of financial success that you have. So when we come back, folks, don't go anywhere, because we're going to talk about the third part of the framework, and that's execution.
Pull up a chair, take your seat at the Black Table with me, Dr. Greg Carr, here on the Black Star Network. Every week, we'll take a deeper dive into the world we're living in. Join the conversation only on the Black Star Network.
Welcome back to Get Wealthy. I'm Deborah Owens, America's Wealth Coach. And today we're talking about the fact that if you're too conservative, you may not see your money accelerate or grow faster. Can you become a 401k millionaire? Can you really accelerate your financial growth? Well, that's exactly the conversation that we're having with Belinda Edwards, just about her own financial journey. So we talked about her mindset, and she shared, hey, first I had to get underneath what some of my beliefs were and understand my own money story or purse story, as she shared. And then next, what were the kinds of strategies that she had to put into place? Analyzing her investments, taking part of her advantage of her employer plans, and evaluating the performance of her financial advisor. And so, Belinda, now I want to talk a little bit about execution, because sometimes, all of the things that you talked about, you did, analyzing your stock, doing a Monte Carlo evaluation on your portfolio, that can sound real technical, and a lot of people get lost. So let's talk about the steps that you took once you learned what you needed to do in order to really review your performance. So what was, like, when you made this shift, you learned that your investments weren't performing. What was one of the first things that you did?
One of the first things I did was, again, to take advantage of the relationship my employer has with an investment company. And I met with their representative in order to assess the performance of my portfolio. And then I received some recommendations that they provided, but I had to do my own research before I made any changes. From the classes, especially the Wind Down Wednesdays that you have, I was able to analyze the performance of my mutual funds via the performance and also fees. Those are the two criteria that I used. From there, I then assessed the amount of fees that were applied to each of the mutual funds, and then I determined which ones I thought would be best for me. From there, I started watching, quite frankly, it started on a daily basis, then it morphed to weekly and then monthly, because as you know, you can't, investment is a long-term game. And so you can't make arbitrary moves. You need to wait and watch and see what happens to your portfolio. If there is a concern where one of the products within your portfolio is not performing correctly, then that might be a good time to move. But as we say, it's best to buy low and sell high. So you have to take into consideration the overall market performance prior to making any selections and changes to your portfolio.
I love that, man. When I look at your growth and the confidence that you have now, I'd love for you to just share with the viewers, what out of everything that you have done, what has made the most impact?
Quite frankly, the best impacts are my accountability partners, because we are able to talk about money in a very common, safe, productive way. And if you make a mistake, that's okay. You learn from those mistakes and you keep it moving, quite frankly. And so when I'm feeling nervous, there are women like yourself, Deborah, that I can reach out to say, I'm really concerned about the performance of my portfolio. Should I move some things? What would you do? Provide some recommendations. And then I go back and do my own research, because of course my portfolio is my portfolio. That is the biggest impact that has occurred, not only to me, but just my family as well. My position and the ability to help my parents when needed, but also to prepare for my whatever happens in retirement in my next stage of life.
I love what you've shared so far, Belinda, because I think for so many people, they hear, that you should do this, you should do that. And I love that you're sharing the steps and the strategy that you took, and the fact that accountability and support are so important, because in order to stay the course, you need to, be able to share with other people how you're feeling. And, I'm glad you brought it up, because I remember a conversation that we had when COVID first hit, right? Mm-hmm. And the market went down significantly, and you're being concerned about, could I lose all my money? And so what would you say to viewers just about riding the ups and downs of the market? The market's quite volatile right now, and continues to be for a number of reasons. So what would you say to someone just about being able to weather the ups and downs in terms of taking risks?
I would say lean on your accountability partners, because yes, as Deborah knows, I was very concerned about the market downturn in March of 2020. But today I know the market is down as well, but now's the time for me to buy. And I can't say I would have done that almost 2 years ago. I really wanted to move my money. So acknowledge your concern, speak with someone who has your back and is on the same page with you, because again, not everyone understands what you're trying to accomplish and might not be there for your best interest.
And then finally, the last question I have for you really is about once you were able to change your behavior and understand now that you have a budget and get a hold on your emotions, what were some things that you were able to do as a result of really following the budget, and that helped you increase the amount that you have invested?
So last year, my parents and I were extremely ill. Thanks to the shift in mindset, I was able to financially weather our storm, to provide financial support to my parents when I could, but also I was able to care for myself where I didn't feel the pain. And so that financially, I wouldn't have been able to do that if I was still just saving. And so I appreciate that. The trade off from my fear and taking a risk was that I was able to be there when the time was needed my presence, both physically and financially. So that was my biggest takeaway.
Belinda, man, that's so insightful because you just described what the fact that wealth is more than money, right? When you accumulate wealth, it allows you the freedom to not worry in the event something catastrophic or unexpected happens. And you certainly thank you for sharing your story because this is happening to so many people with COVID happening and so many of us not knowing, we didn't know this was going to happen, but the fact that you were able to weather the storm, the financial storm, and still feel confident that that it still feel like you could make it. It speaks volumes. So Belinda, thank you so much for coming on Get Wealthy and sharing your story. And when we come back, thank you, Belinda. When we come back, I really want to share with you the takeaways from Belinda's story. And I'm going to be sharing exactly how she analyzed, optimized, and maximized her returns and her situation so that she could be on the other side and feel like she is financially secure. I'm Deborah Owens, America's Wealth Coach, and my new show, Get Wealthy, focuses on the things that your financial advisor and bank isn't telling you, but you absolutely need to know. So watch Get Wealthy on the Black Star Network. Welcome back to Get Wealthy. I'm Deborah Owens. Did you really gain insight from that conversation with Belinda? Listen, if you want to accelerate your financial growth, here's what you need to do. Let's just review how Belinda was able to achieve the kind of financial success that she has. And it's all we're going to analyze, optimize, and maximize. So let's look at what Belinda was able to accomplish. The first thing she had to do was really analyze her current situation. She shared with you that once she learned how to analyze and research the investments that were in her mutual fund, research the other investments that she had with her financial advisor, one of the things she came away understanding is that she actually needed to be more aggressive. And in addition to that, and this is why it's so important, and one of the points that I made in the show today, the 3 things they don't want you to know, is that you need to be able to assess the performance, the recommendations that your financial advisor is giving you to make sure that they're in your best interest. And certainly Belinda shared with you that she found that they weren't. And so she was able to move her investment to a company that expanded the types of investments she can invest in. And here's what I want you to understand is that many of you have access through your employer to advice and advisors and to help you evaluate what your choices are. And so you need to take full advantage of that. And then The other thing she did was optimize her investment. So it wasn't enough for her to just analyze and research. Once she found that her investments that weren't performing, the fact is she knew that she had to take more risk. And that's the other point that I made in the show today. And that is low risk means low returns. If you look at stock ownership in African American households, you'll see that we're not investing in the stock market to the level that our counterparts are. And so because of that, our money hasn't grown. And that's why one of the reasons why the wealth gap is so wide. And then finally, Belinda had to optimize her investment. And she did that. And she continues to do that. She has accountability partners. Very, very important that you are in a circle of like-minded people who have the same kinds of aspirations, financial aspirations that you do, so that you don't get fearful and sell at the wrong time. And to that end, optimizing. And I think it's very, very important for you to hear what Belinda said. She said, yes, at one point when the market went down, I wanted to pull out. But one of the things that she learned, if she was going to optimize her returns, is that she has to be willing to deal with the ups and downs of the market. And she really did make a mindset shift. She now looks at downturns in the market as an opportunity to buy. So that's one of the points that she made is buy low and sell high. And so I think the most important takeaway from today's program that I want you all to understand is that wealth is more than money. Wealth affords you the ability to weather storms, to weather the unexpected. Something's always going to happen. And when you're financially secure, it gives you the ability to still maintain your standard of living without there being some kind of financial jeopardy. And so analyze, optimize, maximize. I hope you've learned from Belinda's story today.
We're all impacted by the culture, whether we know it or not. From politics to music and entertainment, it's a huge part of our lives, and we're going to talk about it every day right here on The Culture with me, Faraji Muhammad, only on the Black Star Network.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Deborah Owens, America's Wealth Coach, and you've been listening to a great conversation on exactly what you need to do to accelerate your financial growth so you too can become a 401k millionaire. And it all begins with you understanding these three things. Here are the three takeaways from the show today. One of the first thing is that you cannot delegate your financial future to anyone. So the first thing you need to be able to do is access the recommendations that you're receiving from advisors. And then finally, you have to invest in the stock market in order to accelerate your financial growth and make your money grow. And then finally, contribute to your employer-sponsored plans and make sure that you're taking advantage of all the opportunities and benefits that you have. So that's how you get wealthy. Thanks so much for joining us today, and I can't wait to see you in our next show.